Motivation can be separated into two categories. First, you have the internal motivations, which are purely self-imposed, within oneself, self-created, and imaginary, without any real relation to the outside world, where the external motivations are actual motivations like money and fame and other things I'll go into later. So let's just start with internal motivations. An example could be an obligation to your ancestors. They are looking down upon you from heaven. You have an ancestry tracing back thousands of years. They demand and expect of you to do great things, to actually be a man and go out and do things instead of just laying on the sofa and watching a YouTube video or a movie. And these kinds of obligations, they may feel external. They may feel like they have a relation to other people, but they are imaginary. Another example could be an obligation to society. You feel indebted to society. They raised you up. They paid for your school, public school, and you should be valuable to society and actually contribute to society and make it grow and flourish even further. Or an obligation to a teacher who gives you top grade in a specific subject. Then you feel obliged to actually perform at that top level. She believes in you and expects of you to actually be able to perform at the best level. Then you also feel obliged to actually be able to do so, or else you will misuse her faith and belief in other people. So these are imaginary, and you can derive a weird kind of pleasure and satisfaction and happiness from these imaginary obligations that you believe other people impose back onto yourself. So you imagine that the teacher expects you to get 12. And then when you actually get 12, you feel happy, you feel proud because you have satisfied the teacher. You think you have satisfied the teacher and made her happy. But it's all in the imagination. But you feel like you have satisfied her and made her happy. Then you can derive and happiness to yourself from making another person happy. So that's kind of weird way to receive satisfaction and pride, maybe. And then there are also, regarding internal motivators, obligations to oneself. You impose standards, high standards upon yourself, where it's simply yourself. You just expect yourself to do great and have a high standard, have a high performance. And it may feel more free. You feel more free to have when you have obligations to yourself only, because these are purely self-imposed, where you just have made a artificial standard that you need to follow and reach. Whereas with your imaginary obligations to other people, these you actually feel obliged, even though these are also created on your own. But with the obligation to oneself, even though you are more free because you can just lower your standards or wipe them away and just go and dread and cry in a corner. Even if you actually perform at that top level and at your standards, you won't derive the same pleasure and happiness compared to your imaginary obligations to other people. Because, well, you just expected it of yourself. You expected this performance and this standard of yourself. What is there really to celebrate? Anything less would have been failure. So you just reached your standard. And there's really nothing more in it than that. And moving over to the external motivators. These are more shallow. I dare to say that internal motivators are more powerful and forceful than the external motivators. Because external motivators could simply be money. You want to receive money from getting a Nobel Peace Prize and receiving some prize money, or getting some money from a family by getting a top grade in a subject, or status. Your friends actually say to you that they expect you to get a top grade, and then you actually get top grade and you get some status. Because external motivators actually have a relation to the outside world, have relations and a foundation in reality, that other people expect something of you. And you know this, like your friends expecting you to get a certain grade, or your teachers actually doing so, or your family. Or it could also be love, maybe. Even though love isn't shallow. That depends on the love. Anyway, that is it. Quick thoughts. Think about yourself. Maybe write a comment to me where you criticize my views or my lack of thought behind my ideas, and where I missed the point, missed the mark, or where I actually did something good. Anyway, have a fantastic day. God bless you. God could also be an internal motivator, or even an external motivator, depending on how you see it. Anyway, goodbye.